Greetings, my fellow scholars of the livestream! I'm Visuasat from the Cosmo Canyon Observatory, and in today's analysis, we'll go through the Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer shown at the Game Awards 2019. While they repurposed several scenes from the earlier trailers, the new scenes are pretty cool and interesting. The first part of this trailer analysis contains everything up to but excluding the escape. The rest follows in part 2. Now let's quickly address the recent leaks. The demo files have been thoroughly data mined and contain a myriad of information and material from the full game that stretch way beyond the demo itself. Please be careful of spoilers as those leaks are spreading far and wide. Avoid your Twitter feed, the Final Fantasy VII Remake subreddit, even YouTube to a certain degree, and all other possible sources for leaks if you're like me and would like to keep your remake virginity. I will keep going with my analysis videos even if many of my theories and comparisons might already be known, proven or disproven by people who have seen and read the leaks. I still haven't looked at any of them except for the intro cinematic, so please show some respect and keep leaked information and comments regarding them to yourself to allow for us unspoiled folks to enjoy the nice things until we play the demo and the full game. Thank you! Alright, without further whining about leaks and spoilers, let's get to work. The scenes in front of the first security door partly depict updated versions of those we've already seen in the PSX 2015 trailer, where CyberConnect 2 was still on board. Let's focus on the dialogues first. The conversation excerpts either expand upon or replace those from the PSX 2015 trailer. The first line of Jessie has changed a little and bears a different implication.
What's his name anyway?
In the PSX 2015 version, her line implies she has never heard Cloud's name before.
What was his name again?
The Tokyo Game Show 2019 version, however, could imply she did hear it but doesn't remember it. Although, I've heard people use this phrase even if they never heard of the name in question. Biggs' line also changed a tad bit by adhering to the James Bond style of naming.
Cloud Strife. Cloud Strife.
He does say more in the PSX 2015 trailer, but since the Game Awards trailer cuts away, we don't know if the rest is still there or has also changed. I do like the cinematography during this scene. Jessie asks the question, and when Biggs answers with Cloud, we see a shot of Cloud and then Biggs again saying his full name.
What was his name again?
Cloud Strife.
Cloud's answer to Wedge in the next scene comes very close to the original game, at least in spirit.
This is a one-time gig. When it's done, we're done.
Versus, I don't care what your names are. Once this job is over, I'm out of here. According to Wedge's thumbs up, he seems to want to be friends or at least on good terms with Cloud. He might be welcoming Cloud to Avalanche, which prompts Cloud to make things clear from the start. Later, the scene in the PSX trailer happens with Wedge's infamous line.
You're doing this for the planet, same as us.
With Cloud retorting with his catchphrase,
Not interested.
I think the new line of Wedge from the Game Awards 2019 trailer follows right after.
Come on, nobody do something this crazy just for money.
This line could also be a subtle retort to fans that think that the Final Fantasy VII Remake project is just a cash grab. Shout out to Soldier First Class for mentioning this potential meta message. Now, let's look at the visual aspects of those scenes. It starts off with the security door opening, but instead of a front view, the camera sits behind the door, where there's much less light compared to the PSX 2015 trailer, casting the whole area in dark shadows. From an atmospheric standpoint, I think this change is one for the better. The door also received a sizable overhaul. Instead of 3 segments and arrow-like patterns, it is now divided into 2 segments only, with differing patterns. Biggs and Jessie are already on their feet again, ready to storm the castle. Which leads into the updated scene from the PSX 2015 trailer, showing both running through the now open door. Next to the lighting, which is held in a blue tint instead of predominantly green, their running animation have also been updated. Both are leaning more forward, especially Jessie, and Biggs seems more relaxed. However, his elbow joints look very strange where lower arm muscle and biceps meet. While it looks natural in the PSX 2015 trailer, the Game Awards trailer has the arms look like someone overbent the joint of a rubber action figure. The background has changed quite a bit. The horizontal struts above the railway seem farther away, situated much lower and lack spotlights. Additionally, the newer version replaced the lanterns which were closer to the original with modern street lamps, which kind of bums me out. The current design feels rather generic. Though I think they changed this to provide a better and more focused light source. The floor looks flooded with light in the latest iteration of this area, while the PSX 2015 version is cast in almost complete darkness towards the ground. At least Barrett is still situated in roughly the same spot behind Jesse and Biggs, and the terminal outside and next to the door seems to also have been kept intact. On the right, we see the first of 4 lamps affixed to the train station building, and the fence forming a cage around something next to that building. The next shot shows Jesse asking about Cloud's name, a segment we only heard but have not seen in the PSX 2015 trailer. Jesse is already working on deciphering the code with her hacker gadget, while Biggs is still standing upright. To the right, we also get another glimpse at the operation terminal next to the security door, and in the background, we see the same fence from before again, as well as parts of the side road running along the side of the train station building. Then there's a short shot of Cloud, who already caught up with the others. It looks like everybody is still roughly located in their original spots. Biggs stands to Jesse's left, Cloud is standing between them and the corner, with Wedge off screen, but also standing at around the same spot, as we see later. The view on the background is pretty much the same as when looking through the open security door, just much closer. We see the same horizontal struts above the railway and the illuminated building facade in the back. And we're back to Biggs and Jesse. This one has also received quite the overhaul from the PSX 2015 trailer. The body expression of both look much more natural, there's an additional depth of field blur on Jesse, who stops her movement to look over to Biggs instead of staring at her gadget. Biggs seems to work on the door lock now instead of just emoting with his hands while speaking, and looks over to Jesse while doing so. The lighting is also quite different thanks to the changed street lamps. Spotlights above the security door also have an impact now as seen on Biggs' hair. The penultimate shot of this sequence of screens in front of the security door shows Wedge standing at around the same spot as in the original game, giving Cloud the thumbs up. This background should look very familiar to you, as it describes almost the same angle and view as this one small scene from the E3 stage presentation where Cloud is running along the path to reach the rest of Avalanche. We see the same horizontal strut in the back along with the railing and the smoke. On the right stands the train station building carrying the 4 lamps, one behind Cloud's head and the 3 archways for exiting and entering the building. We can also see parts of the LCD departure table peeking out through the big one in the middle. Lastly, the fence in the corner is also visible here on the very right. Finally, there's the other scene with Wedge and Cloud, where Wedge seems to have been walking around Cloud to the other side just before. Here, we get a better look at the stone railing and the area behind with all those pipes and horizontal lights along the railway wall. There's nothing else of note except the evolution of Cloud's and Wedge's design from 2015 to now. Wedge's design changes are mostly limited to his face, however. The next chronologically new scene contained in this trailer shows the room between the 2 locked doors near the reactor's entrance, which needs to be opened by Jesse and Biggs respectively in the original game. We've already seen its interior multiple times before. In one of the November screenshots, which displays Cloud's Punisher mode attack, a scene from the Symphonic Reunion trailer showcasing Cloud's cross-slash against a security officer, and during the E3 2019 gameplay stage presentation where they present tactical mode with the camera rotating around Cloud, as well as a Punisher mode combo showcase. The latter 2 instances specifically contain the same view on walls, doors and computer terminals. Kicking off, we get the first detailed view on one of them during the last camera pan before Cloud faces off against the enemies waiting for him. It's comprised of a main screen showing the Shinra logo, another smaller one displaying some gauges and a circular holographic screen above. I have no idea what that one's used for, however. Above the terminal, a sign has been put up that says "Security on Patrol" at the bottom. We can barely see the content of the white area above, but we're in luck since we've seen this one before. The E3 stage presentation contains the same sign at the same spot, where the rest of it is visible, comprised of vertically written Japanese characters ending in the one we see in the Game Awards trailer here. I can't read most of the kanji displayed here, but I assume it also means Security on Patrol. After a few more frames, 4 security officers come into view, 3 of which are still kicking during Cloud's Punisher mode combo showcased in the E3 stage presentation, which we now know happens during the battle that's about to ensue in this trailer. To the right of those 4 security officers, we see the same corner with the same boxes and cards also seen during the tactical mode camera pan in the E3 stage presentation. And like before, we can finally make out the sign on the wall, which reads "Prohibited Items." Those metal-grade cargo cards are therefore meant to hold those prohibited items until workers and visitors leave the reactor again. There are 2 more details I'd like to point out in this scene. The first one being Cloud's facial expression. It seems to me that he mentally prepares himself for the upcoming battle, which would be strange if he was an actual battle-hardened soldier first class, against standard infantry no less. But as we all know, he's anything but, which makes this short mental preparation much more poignant and realistic for Cloud in this situation, even though he is not aware of it. However, this short shift in demeanor could also show that Cloud is questioning his actions here, whether what he's doing with Avalanche is the right thing to do, and he might even feel sorry for those poor security officers he's about to brutally dispatch. The second detail pertains to the lip movement of one of the security guards. We only hear Cloud's lines belonging to another scene which follows later, so we can only guess what he's uttering here. I'm a really bad lip reader, so the only phrase I managed to come up with is "Oh, it's Cloud," as if they knew him and expected him to be there, which doesn't make much sense. Shinra knows about the attack on the reactor and the name of the group responsible, Avalanche, according to the scene with Heidegger and President Shinra from the E3 2019 and Symphonic Reunion trailers. Nothing more as far as I know. What do you guys make of his lip movements here? Beyond the previous room, we enter the elevator, where another scene takes place that made it into this trailer.
You gonna stand there and pretend you can't hear the planet crying out in pain? I know you can!
There's some interesting imagery accompanying Barrett's lines. During the words,
The planet crying out
Mako Reactor processing the life force of the planet is shown, and on the word,
pain!
a girl's eye is shown looking at the Mako fume exhaust. More on those two shots later. Barrett finishes up with pointing his fingers accusatory at Cloud during this last sentence here.
I know you can!
I'd worry less about the planet and more about the next 5 seconds.
Of course, sassy Cloud doesn't give a crap. While the remake version is much more elaborate than the original dialogue, the core of this conversation remains identical. I'm so stoked to experiencing this for myself. In addition to the dialogue, there are a few visual tidbits I'd like to bring to your attention. The depth of field parameters in the shot showing Jessie and Cloud feel off. From our view, the left half of Jessie's face is blurred, while her right half is not, even if it's farther away from the camera. Same goes for parts of her torso and left shoulder armor. Similarly, Cloud's folded arms look sharp in the front, while the rest of his body is blurred. After Jessie turns her head, it moves farther back to put Cloud's face into focus. Shouldn't Jessie's whole face be focused at first? Unless it's moving very slowly and we only see the latter part of this focal point movement. In any case, Cloud has definitely hit the gym. Look at his tricepses. This guy are ripped. When looking at Barrett's face, there's something bothering me I can't unsee anymore. Notice the seemingly bleached areas on his skin around the shades and temples? They never change, so I don't think it's just a matter of lighting. One possibility is that his shades contain LCD screens of sorts projecting a HUD, containing information about his gun, like ammunition, heat levels, etc. However, that residual light should not reach as far as it does here. Unlucky sunbathing accident? Another thing that's bothering me is the clipping in Cloud's gauntlets. I guess you can't avoid all the clipping, and it's barely noticeable, but still clipping. More egregious clipping can be seen in the last shot with Barrett pointing in an accusatory manner at Cloud. In addition to that, there are a few double image errors going on, most likely due to cheating in the trailer editing. Why? The video file of this trailer contains a few markers they forgot to erase before publishing them from Premiere Pro, giving us some insights into their work. This scene has one of those, a red one, whose label says "Slight bump in sizing of Cloud due to cheated cut." My guess is this double image effect is a product of this resizing of Cloud. Speaking of resizing, when comparing this shot with the one containing Jessie, I noticed a discrepancy. Maybe it's just a perspective and a weird angle, but Cloud does look taller in one compared to the other. Where the dark line along the elevator wall seems on shoulder level, compared to the Jessie shot, where it's more on the level of Cloud's chest. Again, it might just be the different angles playing tricks on me. Speaking of the elevator wall, its design was drastically changed from the original one and looks more practical than steampunky. Although, we only see a tiny part of the whole interior, so the other sides might contain all those funky contraptions, lights and buttons. What's also interesting is that in this instance, the remake version has a much brighter look, which is usually the case for the original version of locations, for example the Shinra HQ building interior. New are also the lights in the elevator shaft racing by, temporarily illuminating our heroes. In the second shot with Barrett, it looks like he's lifting said light source with his left hand, tracking its movement with his eyes. Is this just pure coincidence or designed this way on purpose to pronounce Barrett's speech? Before we move on to the next scene, let's try and calculate the elevator's speed. In the shot with Cloud and Jessie, the light from the elevator shaft races across Cloud's model in 10 frames. The visible portion of Cloud amounts to 439 pixels out of 1000 based on his full body render. The Cloud's height is at 173 centimeters, which brings his visible portion to around 85 centimeters. That's 2.55 meters per second with the 30 frames per second of this video, which converts to 9.81 kilometers per hour, or 5.74 miles per hour. This sounds accurate. According to Wikipedia, the speed of elevators moved by geared traction machines usually can reach up to 3 meters per second, which is a bit higher than our calculated 2.55 meters per second. Up next, we'll take a good look at two battle scenes containing a few tidbits worth mentioning. The first one shows Cloud performing his cross-slash limit break against the Scorpion Sentinel's right leg, which of course gets dispatched instantly. According to pixel measurements, the leg's max HP lie at 360, which is below my initial estimation from the E3 stage presentation, where I ended up with 420 HP. What's interesting, however, is that the leg's HP are linked to the main body, as we see the main body HP go down too, even though cross-slash only damages the right leg. Additional targets on bosses therefore seem to be there to merely cripple their abilities and not for additional HP sponges, which I think is a smart design choice. Speaking of HP, the Scorpion Sentinel is almost defeated, which is another indicator next to the level of the environmental destruction that we're currently in phase 4 of this battle, where it periodically heals itself and uses its overkill attack. Last hit of cross-slash deals 414 points of damage and dispatches the leg as seen by the disappearing HP bar and the battle log, which reads, "You crippled a right leg." It's nothing earth-shattering, but still worth mentioning that this text has been changed. E3 stage presentation read, "You destroyed a left leg of the Scorpion Sentinel." And I approve of this change. First, the new version is shorter and therefore faster to read in the heat of battle. Second, the term crippled is more accurate than destroyed, as the leg is still there and somewhat operational, just heavily damaged and prevents certain attacks to be performed, presumably jumping around and attacking with the forelegs. This 614 damage hit also defeats the boss itself as its HP bar disappears as well, and because Cloud already gains the EXP reward as we see him level up right here on the spot. Although, crippling a leg might also reward the attacker with bonus EXP, which leads to this level up. We don't see the rewards for defeating the Scorpion Sentinel in the battle log yet after all. In any case, when leveling up, Cloud's max HP instantly increased from 1026 to 1082 and MP from 30 to 31. Since the HP percentage stays the same, his current HP also increased by 15 points, which allows us to determine his current HP percentage value, 27% rounded up. In addition to the HP boost, there's also golden level up text on Cloud's head, which we've seen before in the E3 stage presentation, but it has been spruced up with this familiar cell or DNA pattern we've seen in multiple locations already, such as on the convention demo's title screen and in the background of the weapon-specific upgrade submenu. I'm pretty sure that's the same effect as in the Tokyo Game Show 2019 trailer, when Cloud turns into a frog. There, we also see a similar effect appear and disappear, but the main part has been cut from the trailer footage unfortunately. One last detail seen in this shot is the bomb in the background. Nothing special, just worth mentioning. It's a miracle that it doesn't go off with all the fighting, magic and explosions in its very close vicinity. The second gameplay shot takes place in the Mako filtration room at the top, with a round filtration unit visible to the left. There, we see a newly placed sentinel ray above, shot at by Barrett, and Cloud is taking care of the shock trooper, who were only encountered in the middle floor of this room on the way down, as seen in the Symphonic Reunion trailer. Now they have increased security, which replaced the mono drives with shock troopers on this top floor. We've already seen that during one of Barrett's Fire in the Hole limit break showcase in the same trailer, where we have only a bit over 8 minutes left to escape compared to the lofty 15 minutes here. We do see a different part of this area however, which shows that things are falling apart, burn and explode already during the Scorpion Sentinel's freakout, causing the whole system to overheat or something. Gameplay wise, there's nothing new. Cloud attacks the shock trooper with a Punisher mode combo, staggers it and keeps going. There's a small but important detail I haven't been talking about so far, even though it was already contained within the convention demo. When we stagger an enemy, the attacking character's limit bar fills up by 30% in this instance, according to pixel measurements, which is quite significant. The last point I'd like to bring up for this segment is the angle of the battle UI. When comparing it to all previous footage and screenshots, even those from December, the angle is much steeper with almost 6 degrees instead of 3.3 degrees, and both areas have been notched farther away from the center by 10 pixels. Besides that, everything is still the same. It even shows the yellow leader triangle icon on Cloud's status element, which already appeared in all December battle screenshots. And with those new glimpses and interesting mechanics also ends our analysis for today. Huge thanks to Master Patron Dachdecker for helping with the analysis as part of his reward. I also welcome Rizzle to the Scholars of the Livestream Elite as our new apprentice. Your pledges help this channel move forward and improve. Please check the links in the description for all possible support options. And if you haven't already, please check out the 3 screenshot analysis articles I posted on the livestream.net. Links are also in the description down below. Alright, let us know if there are details we've missed, and please don't hesitate to speak your mind. Though I implore you to keep the comment section free of any information about the leaks. Thank you for your understanding. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell button to be notified of future uploads, and don't let yourself stop from sharing this video around. That being said, thank you so much for attending this in-depth trailer breakdown, and I hope to see you again in the next episode of Game Analysis. And always remember, stay safe and take care. Izuazat signing off.